Hey everyone, welcome back to Tanvi Code Studio. In this video, I'm showcasing a modern jewelry landing page that I built inspired by a beautiful design I came across on Behance. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the project. Let's code. Let's start with the HTML structure. In the head section of our HTML, we have added a link tag to import the box icons library. The entire layout is wrapped inside the body tag. At the very top, there is a custom cursor element, a simple div with the class mini circle. The small circle follows our mouse around the screen, which will be styled and animated later using CSS and JavaScript. Next, we have the navigation bar. It's divided into two sections: left nav for links like home and jewelry, and right nav for contact and about us. Then we enter page 1. This section features website's logo wrapped inside a logo div. It's the first animated element, scaling in and sliding into place as you scroll down, which will be created using JavaScript. Next, page 2 is split into two sides. On the left, we have a heading and a paragraph inside left page 2, which smoothly scrolls into view from the bottom. On the right, there's an image inside right page 2, which moves in from the top. After that, we have the main section, which highlights the brand's core values. Each one has a heading, a short description, and a link to discover more. Right next to this, I have created a product gallery. It's a grid of jewelry pieces with images and their prices. These are simple content blocks wrapped inside a content div for easy styling and animations. I have also created a horizontally scrolling marquee section made using logos slide. It showcases product categories. The next part is page 3. It features a motivational quote framed by 3 decorative dots on both sides. There's also a large image block. This image grows to fill the entire screen using a scroll trigger animation with pinning enabled. Finally, we have page 4, which showcases the latest collection. Each item includes an image, a title, and a number. We come to a section filled with multiple LM elements. Each of these acts as an interactive item with hover functionality. When a user hovers over an LM, an image inside it appears and follows the mouse cursor with a slight rotation based on movement direction. This creates a very modern and immersive UX. To wrap up the page, I have added the footer with 4 sections: support, company, contact, and help, each with important links. At the end, I have included the GSAP library and ScrollTrigger plugin via CDN, which I'll be using later to animate various parts of the page. Then there's a link to the JavaScript file where all the interactivity comes to life. Alright, let's break down the CSS code. First up, we are importing a few Google fonts. Next, we define a global style for all elements. We remove default margins and paddings, apply box sizing border box, scroll behavior smooth, which ensures smooth scrolling across the site. Now moving on to the mini circle class. The mini circle is a small fixed position circle that smoothly follows your mouse around the page. It's styled with a solid color, a border radius of 50% to make it circular, and a high Z index so it stays on the top of all the content. The JavaScript dynamically updates its position on every mouse move. Next, we have the navbar. It's fixed at the top of the screen, ensuring it stays visible at all times. For the page 1 section, we set the logo to be fixed position and horizontally centered using left 50% and transform translate -50%, and it's placed at a high Z index so it stays on top of other elements. For page 2, we position the left and right section side by side. The left contains our text content and the right contains an image. The image and text animate separately as you scroll using ScrollTrigger. Within the logo section, we have a scrolling animation. The logo slide uses keyframes to continuously slide across the screen. When hovered over, the animation pauses, giving user control. In the main section, there are two primary columns, left main for the title and features, and the right main for content card. Each content card has a hover effect with a smooth fade in on a semi-transparent overlay, giving it a stylish look. We also use CSS Grid to make sure the right section looks dynamic with columns that adapt based on screen size. In page 3, we uses a flex layout for centering the content vertically and horizontally. We have given the page 3 image a fixed width and height initially, which we later expand to full screen via a scroll trigger GSAP animation. Lastly, we style the elements for the interactive hover section. Each element is relatively positioned, allowing us to absolutely position the image inside. The image itself is initially hidden with opacity 0 and appears on hover. We also apply transitions and rotations via JavaScript, making the image follows the mouse and rotates slightly based on movement directions, adding a sleek, modern interactive effect. The media query section helps adjust the layout for smaller screen, ensuring responsiveness. Here we reduce the sizes, stack columns, and fine-tune spacing to maintain a clean, readable design. Now let's move to the JavaScript. In this JavaScript code, we start by defining the function circle mouse follower, which moves a small circle to the screen to follow the mouse cursor. It does this by selecting the element with the class mini circle and setting a transform property to translate it to the mouse x and y coordinates. Next, we add a event listener to the window for the mouse move movement, which triggers the circle mouse follower function every time the mouse moves across the screen. We start by creating a new timeline using GSAP.timeline. This gives us the flexibility to chain multiple animations one after the other if needed. Then we define our first animation using from method, which animates an element from a specific starting state to its natural position on the page. We are targeting page 1 logo, and here's what happened step by step. The Y50VH means the logo begins 50% down the viewport, so it starts lower than where it will end up. Then scale 8 makes the logo appear 8 times larger, giving us a dramatic zoom out effect. And Y% minus 50 helps fine tune the centering of that movement by shifting the transform origin upward. Now let's talk about the scroll trigger setting. Trigger page 1 logo means this animation is linked to the logo's visibility in the viewport. The scroll is tracked on the body as defined by scroller body. It starts at 0 and ends at 80%, which means the animation begins the movement. The logo touches the bottom of the screen and completes when you have scrolled 80% down. Finally, scrub 1 ensures the animation is directly linked to the scroll, moving smoothly as you scroll down the page. Now moving into page 2, we animate the heading and paragraph inside left page 2. They start from 700 pixels below their original position, so they slide up into view. The scroll trigger is still page 1, meaning the animation begins as soon as you start scrolling from the top of the page. It finishes at 70% of the scroll distance, and scrub 5 ensures a buttery smooth scroll sync transition. Next up, the image on the right side of the page 2. This time the image begins 200 pixels above its natural spot and slides down into position. We are using the same scroll trigger here, so both the text and image animate together but from opposite direction, creating a balanced and engaging entrance. Lastly, we move on to page 3. Here we are using two methods. We are telling GSAP to grow the image to take up the entire screen, setting its width to 100 VW and height to 100 VH. This gives a powerful full screen image reveal as the user scrolls. We have added scrub 5 to smooth things out and a duration 1 for transition timing. But the most important part is pin true. This pins the image in place, holding it steady while the rest of the content scrolls, giving us an immersive parallax style effect. Now let's dive into a really interactive feature, the text hover image animation. In this part of the code, we begin by selecting all elements with the class element using query selector all. Each of these elements is expected to contain an image that becomes visible when we hover over the text. We loop through each element using for each method and attach two event listeners, mouse move and mouse leave. When the mouse moves an element, we use GSAP.2 to animate the image opacity to 0, creating a smooth fade out effect using power 3 easing and duration of 0.5 seconds. Now on mouse move, we calculate a few things. First, the vertical position of the mouse relative to the element stored in a variable called diff. Then we calculate the horizontal difference since the last frame called diffRot. These values helps us create a natural dynamic animation that reacts to how the mouse moves. The image fades in again by setting its opacity to 1 and follows the mouse cursor using the top and left values. And here's the cool part. We apply a rotation effect based on the movement, but clamp it between -20 and 20 degrees to keep it controlled and smooth.